Thank you for joining us once again for our weekly briefing. I am Jamie Sumner, Chief Analyst here at Sea Freedom Brew. And for this week's briefing, we want to look at two releases that came out over the past couple of weeks. The first one we're going to look at is that Employment Situation Report. And as you can see here, and you probably know this from Friday, but it came out at a pretty disappointing number at just 98,000 new jobs. That number was well below what was anticipated at the 175,000 new jobs. So we're pretty far below that, significantly below where we have been over the past 2 months when we were above that 200,000 mark. With that being said, we also saw that the unemployment rate, though, improved from that 4.7% back in February to that 4.5% in March. So we saw that 0.2% decline in there, but more notably, we saw a 0.3% decline in the U6, and that's the all-encompassing unemployment rate, going down from a 9.2 to an 8.9. So the spread between the U3 and the U6 is continuing to narrow, which is what we like to see, which is pointing to a healthier employment situation. However, what that means is that those jobs that are out there, there are more individuals looking to attain those, and therefore we could start to see this wage inflation start to take hold. If we were to look all the way back to 2007 at the average hourly earnings, we can see this is the year-over-year change, that prior to 2008, we were up here on average above that 3%. Then down with the recession, we're coming in, we're averaging down below 2% during 2010 through about 2014. And then we started to pick back up here. And for this month's year-over-year number, we're at about 2.7% growth over last year, down a little bit from where we were in February at a 2.8, but on a 6-month trailing average, we're continue to see this upward momentum. So that raises the question, will we start to see this push into that inflation number? Another release we want to look at is the third release or third estimate of the fourth quarter GDP. And when this came out, you can see we were at a 2.1% up from that 1.9% GDP in the fourth quarter. So we saw an improvement, and that improvement came in the way mostly with inside the consumer. We're at 2.4 percentage point contribution to the overall GDP number. We saw a little bit of reduction with inside of the government, coming down to a 0.03, and the net exports imports at that 1.82. But overall, that's positive that we start to see that consumer continue to increase in here. Now, that was the fourth quarter. Looking forward to the first quarter GDP, which is coming out with the advanced estimate on April 28th. We can look at the Federal Home Loan Bank, or the Federal Reserve Bank, of Atlanta with their GDPNow. And their GDPNow forecast is this green line. And you can see it's pretty volatile as it comes out. But right now, we're looking at this first quarter GDP at 0.6%. So we're below that 1% mark as forecasted by that GDPNow. So that would be significantly lower than we anticipate. With inside the blue chip, you can see this range of about a 2.25 up to, or 1.25 up to about a 2.25. So the GDPNow forecasting well below what we're anticipating at this point, but that's a 1.6 or 0.6. So that's the question here, is where are we going to see this first quarter GDP come out? Got a couple more weeks for that, and that's what we have for you today. We look forward to seeing you next week here at Sea Freedom Brew. Have a great week, everyone.